Now, of course, our main story today is the crisis, I think that's fair to say, at the top of the BBC, and the government, of course, trying to tread that very difficult line between being supportive of the BBC and the national institution that many believe that is, but also, of course, they care very much about the relationship with Donald Trump, I think it's fair to say, who has praised the departure of people he describes as dishonest. Lots to talk about, including, of course, the veterans policy with the Minister for Veterans and People, Louise Sandher-Jones. Great to have you on the programme today. Louise, I'm very keen, of course, to talk to the important work the government's doing on veterans in particular. But first, if I can, just to what's happened with the BBC, a big breaking news story today. The BBC Director General and the Head of News have both quit after criticism for several editorial decisions. Were they right to go?
So as the Culture Secretary has said, we do thank Tim Davie and Deborah Turness for their service. They've been at the BBC through a period of significant challenge. But as a whole, the BBC is an absolutely iconic institution in the United Kingdom. Every day it puts out a huge range of output. I know it's hugely trusted by many people, whether they're using its broadcast news, its radio services, its local news. And on the whole, I think it's a very respected institution. And indeed, I think it was at its best over the weekend covering the remembrance events, whether it was at the Cenotaph or the additional programming like the Festival of Remembrance.
It's interesting you say there about, you kind of believe that the BBC gets a lot of things right, which I'm sure a lot of people would agree with. But I guess what this report lays bare is that they have got some things wrong as well. Editing the Trump speech, there's been questions about his coverage of trans issues, also the war in the Middle East. Deborah Turness said in her resignation letter that while mistakes have been made, I want to be absolutely clear that recent allegations BBC News is institutionally biased are wrong. I just want to be crystal clear. Do you think that BBC News is institutionally biased?
I think one thing I found really interesting as a constituency MP is I meet such a broad range of people who have such a broad range of views. I can be speaking to two people in quick succession who have diametrically opposed views on a certain topic. And it's absolutely fundamentally important that the BBC, as our national broadcaster, represents the full spectrum of those views. I think that is quite a challenging thing to do, but nonetheless, it's an incredibly important duty, which I know it seeks to uphold across all of its wide range of programming.
So do you think it does? I guess that's my question. You say there that it's important for the BBC to reflect the views of the country, including your constituents. Do you think it does, or is it institutionally biased?
I think on the whole it does. When you look at just the huge range of domestic issues, local issues, international issues that it has to cover, I think its output is very trusted. And again, when I'm speaking to people who've got very strongly held views on those, they're still using the BBC for a lot of their information, that's forming their views on this. I think we can all point to elements of BBC broadcasting, of news, and say, well, that reflects my views and that doesn't. And that's absolutely right that we should be able to say that.
Donald Trump's posted on Truth Social, he's, I guess, kind of taking credit, really, for the resignations. And then his press secretary tweeted to say the BBC is dying because they're anti-Trump fake news and everyone should watch GB News. I mean, some people might think this is kind of foreign interference. I mean, does it look like Donald Trump can decide who's the head of the BBC?
So President Trump will obviously speak for himself. Tim Davie and Deborah Turness have been quite clear that it's their decision that they've stepped down. And I note that the board has thanked them for their service and had said that it had supported them. But they've, as they've said, taken accountability for what the BBC has put out. I think it is very important that public figures have accountability for sure. But I just want to reflect back, the BBC is a very trusted organisation. It's iconic in the United Kingdom. Again, just to refer back, just to see their coverage over remembrance events over the weekend, nobody does it better than the BBC.
OK, you're here to make an announcement about veterans. What is it that the government's doing?
So today we're launching our veterans strategy, and this is a hugely important milestone for us and a hugely proud moment for me as a veteran myself. The veterans strategy is going to be centred on 3 different themes. So what is really important that we recognise and celebrate the service of our armed forces, recognise the full breadth of people that serve in our armed forces today. It's about recognising as well that, for myself, I'm better off for having served, and the majority of people that serve in our armed forces are better off for doing so. It's recognising the skills, the experience, the values, values that they take with them into civilian life after having served, and the fantastic contribution that they can make. And of course, support, which is the third pillar. There will always be those that do need extra support, extra help. It's about making sure that we're doing our duty by those who have served. And as part of this, we are opening the first round of applications as part of our Valor programme, which is to support a network of regional hubs. And this is so important, because I hear all the time from veterans how it can be a bit confusing about where to go to access support. So Valor will have a network of physical hubs, physical locations where any veteran will be able to go and be able to get help and advice, whether it's help in seeking support for mental health, for employment, for housing. They'll be able to go have a cup of tea and find out where it is that they need to go to get the support that they need.
Yeah, sounds like some really important work to be done with, people who've obviously served the country. You were in the army yourself, which you've spoken about. You're the MP for North East Derbyshire as well, and like many other MPs, you've seen St George's crosses appearing in your constituency. And I was just really struck by some words that you said back in August. You talked, quite expansively about flying the flag and how important it was to you, being in the army, and also, of course, in your life more generally. And then you said, if you think you can use our flags to divide us, it won't work. So I just wondered if you could explain a bit more what you meant by that. Do you think that people are flying the flag to divide us?
So as somebody who served in the armed forces, I wore the flag on my arm virtually every day whilst I was serving. I'm hugely proud to be British. I'm hugely proud to be English. As you can see, I've got British flags right next to me today. I think this country is a fantastic country. I'm so proud of it. What I find frustrating is those that want to cause and sow division, that want to turn communities against each other, that want to say, oh, your problems here are caused by your neighbour, when I just think that's absolutely not true. And for me, the flag is for everybody in this country.
Do you think people are doing that by flying the flag?
I think there are some people out there for sure, and they're very open on social media for sure, about that they don't believe that the flag is everybody. They say the British flag is not for everybody in this country, very open about it. I completely disagree with that. When I see the British flag flying, I'm very proud, and I think it does speak to everybody.
Really interesting to talk to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on Sky News today.
Thank you.